Hello, how you doing? It's Tuesday, 14th of June, 2022. This is episode, I think, 211 of Mark Talks about every record he's ever got. Well, not strictly true. There are going to be some I'm never going to talk about. And today I'm going to be talking about Metallica's fifth studio album, which finished recording this very week, 31 years ago. 16th of June, 1991 was when Metallica finally finished the very long recording sessions for their fifth studio album, the Black Album. I'm going to talk about that, this box set, that record, the singles, what it was like to be a Metallica fan at the time, anything else that I think of. Now, it's been a week since I've done one of these. Normally, I do a couple a week, largely as a replacement for my social life. But now that we are in the post-COVID world, my social life does exist. In fact, I've got 3 gigs in the next week, and normally I do one at the weekends as well. But this weekend, I saw a friend who had come over to the UK for the first time since the before times, and it was lovely to see him. I have missed you, although who knows if you're ever going to hear me talking about you. Who knows? Who knows? That's going to be freaky. So today, Metallica's fifth studio album, Metallica, the Black Album, the Spinal Tap album. Originally, it wasn't going to be a glove, I tell you, which was recorded between October 1990 and 16th of June 1991. First single, Enter Sandman, came out into the public world with the premiere of the video on the 30th of July 1991. It really doesn't seem like 31 years ago. It seems like it's about 10 years ago since that album came out. I still feel like I'm not actually in my 40s. I feel like I'm like maybe early 30s, although I know that's definitely not true, and my hairline tells me that's not true. It does feel like time is moving at a very different pace. When I see people that were my age, for example, my age now, it's fair to say Phil Collins was younger when he played Nebworth in 1990 with Genesis as a very old bloke than I am now. I think all of the Travelling Wilburys, apart from possibly Roy Orbison, were younger at the time that they recorded them, and they were very old men, than I am today. It's really, really strange, David Gilmour had wrapped up and finished Pink Floyd, to all intents and purposes, when he was younger than I am today, and I don't feel like I'm um, in that old fogey fuddy-duddy kind of stage. Who knows? Certainly, when I go on the Steve Hoffman forums, hello, people from those forums, I feel much younger than I actually am because I know nothing about Grand Funk Railroad and Jethro Tull. And at the same point, if I go to any gig, often I'm like the oldest dude there, which is both good and bad. Who knows? In my mind, Metallica are still the band that they were in 1988. So the concept of Metallica headlining stadiums and being like, a stadium rock band, to me, it feels really, really weird to think of Metallica being that. Because in my mind, they're still that thrash band that were headlining, the Hammersmith Odeon and the Birmingham Odeon in 1988. And the idea that everybody else likes them is a little bit weird to me. But everybody else liking them is a natural result of the release of the what's called the Black Album, though officially it's self-titled. Everybody calls it the Black Album, including the band. And we start off. I was 16 years old, and I was I had long hair. Yes, I had hair and it was long, and a lot of black t-shirts and a black coat. And I listened to a lot of black music, black metal, not so much, thrash metal, rock, metal, goth, industrial, EBM, and a side order of synth pop as well, because smack bang in the middle of a contradiction is where you need to be. So the Metallica album, the fifth album, by the way, there's some pretty exciting stats around this. It's the 25th best-selling album of all time in America. It's the first biggest, well, Metallica are the third biggest selling artist of all time since 1991, and it's the biggest rock album ever made, I think. Recording the album was pretty torturous. It was resulted in the end of 3 marriages. The album was remixed 3 times before it was finalised. It was finished the day before it was sent off to be pressed and mastered, and it cost over $1 million to make. Now, the good thing about the Black Album, and this is something which Metallica have always had, and to my chagrin, sometimes what that means is when they make a bad record, it's because they wanted to make a bad record. If you've heard Lulu, you'll know complete artistic control is their thing. I think they very much they wanted to make this album. So, from my perspective, Metallica is a great rock record. It is a terrible Metallica album, because there's a thing that only Metallica can do, that nobody else can really do, and that's kind of a progressive thrash, long songs, multiple tempo changes, lots of intricate parts. Metallica do it not better than anybody else, in my opinion, and none of that is on this LP. The Metallica album is and was designed to be an enormous classic rock record, driving down the motorway with your hair streaming down, the rooftop down, and a classic rock LP coming out of your shitty car speakers. It's designed for that. The band chose Bob Rock as the producer, specifically influenced by the Cult's Sonic Temple album in 1989, which, by the way, is one of the best rock albums of all time, and Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood, not one of the best rock albums of all time. Because certainly for me, lyrics are really, really important in a band, and a band that has terrible lyrics, I don't like. I can't like them as much. If Def Leppard had lyrics that were above the standard of the wheels on the bus go round and round, I would like Def Leppard a heck of a lot more than I actually do. Lyrics that make sense and tell a story are really, really important to me, and they're really important to Bob Rock as well, because when Metallica were recording this album, one of the things that he said to them is he pushed the band to write better lyrics. So some of the lyrics on some of the earlier albums, not fantastic. Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, Seek and Destroy, yeah, beer, girls, dragons, monsters, headbanging, woohoo. Metallica is one of the first albums to really take some of its lyrics really, really seriously. Most of the songs on the album are around a quest for and a search for identity and the contradiction within those. Now, if I was going to be pushing, by the way, a Metallica motion picture when they did the Through the Nether film in 2012, of the kind of the treatments which were presented to them, there were 5 treatments that were presented to them. I think 4 of them were science fiction, and the one which wasn't was the one which got chosen. Now, if I was going to be pitching a movie towards Metallica and going, I want to do a movie with a narrative base that features you in it, it would probably be something around the quest for identity and integrity in a world that seeks to strip it away from you, which of course ties in very closely with the lyrics to Don't Tread on Me on this album. It is a tough album, this, and I say it tough in so much as it's uncompromising, it's complete artistic integrity, it's absolutely what the band wanted to do. Then they wanted to make a classic rock LP in the way that would stand up next to things like Hysteria, Sonic Temple, later on, Nevermind, of course, Hotel California, Rumors, probably. Those classic rock LPs that they'd been listening to. This is an opportunity for us to do this. And to me, the Metallica album is as important to Metallica stories as Acting Baby is to U2, in so much as it's the album where the band stepped outside of the beautiful palace that they'd made for themselves and did something completely different. With Metallica, this was straightforward, conventional songwriting, very simple structures. Intro, verse, chorus, guitar solo, chorus, fade, end, as opposed to a song from And Justice for All, which might very well be intro, guitar solo, verse, chorus, guitar solo, verse, chorus, guitar solo, guitar solo, guitar solo, chorus, verse, verse, chorus, guitar solo, massive, great big fuck off ending. And of course, that is never going to get radio play. It's going to have lots of integrity, but it's never going to have any radio play. Whereas what Metallica wanted to do, they wanted to make simple, straightforward, conventional songs that were arresting, got the listener's attention, and stuck with it. Rock pushed the band harder. He fought to write better, more accessible lyrics. Some of Hetfield's best lyrics are on this LP. He wanted more introspective writing, more personal writing, more meaningful writing that was based upon lived experiences. So songs like Nothing Else Matters and Wherever I May Roam, for example, and not your standard songs about tits and dragons. He pushed the band to do lots and lots of takes. On the box set, you have something like take 18 of a B-side, for example. The band really worked these songs through, and they played these songs and tested them to destruction, to the point where they were able to just drive out all the possible areas where perhaps it might lose the audience's attention, and it made these songs durable. They're very, very well constructed songs. These songs are built like a house, and they are designed and built and constructed with the same degree of integrity and thought. and the idea being is that the work would last permanently. When you make a record, it's a recording of a moment. It's not a transient thing. You know, if you make a mistake on a record, Kurt Hammett said this when they were talking about the difficult recording for the album, is if you make a mistake on an album, that's a mistake you have to live with for the rest of your life. So they wanted to get this absolutely right and correct when they released the album, and they did. It's a fabulous rock record. It's a bad Metallica album, but it's a fantastic classic rock record, and I both love it and hate it. This album, I love it for what it is. I hate it for what it is as well. But no one can ever say to Metallica is that they were ever did anything that didn't have complete artistic integrity and creative control. They wanted to make an album this big, this obvious, this accessible, and one that communicated to lots and lots of people. From an artist's perspective, if you make art, what you don't want to do is you don't want to make something that only connects to one person, because you put all that effort in and it only connects to one person. If you're going to put the effort in, you want to create art that communicates to lots of people. And I have no problem with the bands I like being successful, which is good, because I like some really bloody successful bands, you know, like the biggest band in the world, probably, apart from maybe BTS. At one point, you know, U2 were the biggest band in the world. Metallica were the biggest band in the world. I love them both. I was not sat in my little indie ghetto going, oh, I hated it as soon as they formed, you know. I'd be like, I want the bands I love to be absolutely enormous, to be financially successful, and to have lots of fans. And if that means I stand further back in the stadium, okay. If that means that the band are able financially to continue to make music as opposed to having to shove making music around a day job, I'm all for it. I think artists should be paid for their work, and as you can probably tell by the amount of CDs and band T-shirts I've got, is that when I'm paid for my work, a lot of that pay goes into keeping these bands, you know, very much at the forefront of my mind. And so for this album, you know, there was a lot of control. The band exerted a lot of control and autonomy. They wanted to be huge, and they definitely also listened to the input from the previous album, and that they fixed the bass issue. So there's no point of a Metallica Black Album with extra bass on. The bass parts are very, very good, very inventive, and they play around the rhythm as opposed to shadowing the rhythm. So this is one of the best rock albums of all time. What I will say is this was the album where I started to tune out from Metallica for a period of time. I was disappointed with the LP, although I know they didn't disappoint when they played live. But I didn't. I had a chance to see them on this tour. My brother saw them on this tour at the Birmingham NEC towards the tail end of the 1992 Wherever We May Roam leg, which had something like 277 dates on it. And my brother's assessment was that they were knackered, which is completely understandable. So talking about the album, of course, let's get a rewind to the first single, the song that almost everyone on the planet will know, that scary song about the Sandman. Oh, Mr. Sandman. Except, of course, obviously it isn't. This is Enter Sandman, released in lots and lots of formats. I have here's the 7-inch picture disc of it, which I bought from Hob Days in Birmingham, of all places, when it fell out of the charts. You know, my Monday mornings when I was working, or when I was at home, I would walk half an hour to Hob Days, because Hob Days carried more vinyl, and they marked everything down and it dropped out of the top 40, so I could pick this up for maybe 69p. So I would listen to the songs in the charts, and as soon as they fell out of the charts, I would know exactly what I needed to get. So I would go with my pocket money. I would buy the singles in the X-Chart stock from the Woolworths in my local village, and then over to Hob Days and get it all on a budget. So there's Enter Sandman as a 7-inch. I also had the 12-inch, and here's my 12-inch of Enter Sandman. Now, the reason I bought the 12-inch was because there's a 4-track 12-inch of Enter Sandman, and here it is here's the classic Vertigo swirl label. Woo! And this has Enter Sandman on the A side, and on the B side it's got Holier Than Thou, a work in progress version of the song that was only released on this 12-inch for 30 years, alongside a cover of Queen's Stone Cold Crazy, and the demo of Enter Sandman, which was recorded in Lars' basement on August the 13th, 1990. August the 13th, 1990 was a day when I should have been seeing the Wonder Stuff at the Aston Villa Leisure Centre, but my parents thought they'd take me on holiday instead, and so I had to wait an extra few months to get to see them. I've still not forgiven them for forcing me to go on holiday. Now, this sounds churlish, but I've never been a fan of spectacularly hot places. I've never been a fan of beaches, and so sitting with a Walkman reading a book on a beach, because I want to be in the shade and at home surrounded by all my records and my things. It's kind of made me go off beach holidays forever, which, depending upon who you talk to, either means you say something terrible, like we don't do holidays, or just means that my kind of holidays involve generally travelling to other countries and going to see bands playing at weekends. But no, Enter Sandman is a fantastic song. Here is the CD single, by the way. This is a 3-track CD single, so it has the Enter Sandman demo on, but it doesn't have Holier Than Thou, and I needed all the Metallica I could get, so I bought the 12-inch as well as this. Now, particularly astute fans were able to get a picture disc CD single that came inside a box, and you put the 4 or 5 CD singles in the box, and it created some kind of mosaic of the album cover, which was bizarre, and obviously I would have been able to show it you, or my brother would have been able to, but he had his Metallica collection stolen, which is heartbreaking. And so it's a terrible, terrible thing, man. You want to hurt a guy, that's what you do. So Enter Sandman, I think that's the song which Metallica have played live, probably third most after Creeping Death and the Master of Puppets title track. They've played it over 1,000 times, I think. And because that song had been worked so hard through the production process for the album, of course, it means that it still doesn't bore when played live. Sometimes when I see Metallica, I leave before the encore because, frankly, queues, they're on late. Last time I saw them, which was their last UK show at Twickenham Stadium, I think the main set finished at 10:30 and then the encore finished at 11 o'clock. I had to get the train, otherwise I was going to be stranded in London, and Twickenham Stadium is frankly in the arse of nowhere. Sorry to people in Twickenham, but Twickenham Stadium is too far out of the way. You know, it's half an hour south. It's then a 20-minute walk to the station. The station is 20-30 minutes to get to Waterloo. If I'd have got the train, I would have, if I was lucky, just been able to get the last train home. And I thought, well, I've got a choice between that or I leave and miss Nothing Else Matters and Enter Sandman. I've seen him play Enter Sandman at every show but one. I've seen him play Nothing Else Matters at every show but one. I'm quite happy to leave those songs because they are very much the lesbian seagull of the band's body of work. Enter Sandman, then, as previously mentioned, was first brought to the public attention. I think it was released on the 29th of July 1991 as a single. The video was premiered on the 30th of July, directed by Wayne Isham, that guy that does all those rock videos with boobs in it. And the first show from the tour was in a place called Petaluma on the 1st of August 1991, with the first proper show, I think, being the 11th of August. And the LP came out on the 12th of August 1991. And then the band toured frequently. But Enter Sandman is an absolute classic, of course. If you don't know it, have you even been listening to music? Do you have ears? Who knows? But Enter Sandman, great first single. Clearly, artistic integrity flying out of the band's backside there. And then we got the Black Album itself. Here it is. This is the 2014 Blackened Records edition of it. I did have an original, but it made its way through the food chain and then became stolen and somebody else's property. This is exactly how I remember the record looking when I bought it in 1991. I bought it in 1991 because, vinyl was cheaper than CDs. CDs were still a premium product. Vinyl was a little bit cheaper, and of course, if I'd managed to keep on all of those and not sell them for beer money, I would have done well. And so they've got the 2 vinyl discs here, or one shiny, lovely silver CD. And then we've got track 2, which is Sad But True, which was the 5th single to be released from the album. So maybe I should talk about Sad But True, and then mention, the various versions and editions of the CD and the single which came out. Sad But True is the 5th single released from the album, came out in February the 8th, 1993, so a year and a half after the album had been released. Unlike, say, Michael Jackson's Thriller, where I think 9 songs from the album were released as singles over a 2-year period. Metallica chose to space out their singles releases. So The Unforgiven came out in October, which was 3 months after Enter Sandman. Nothing Else Matters came out in April, which is 6 months after The Unforgiven. Wherever I May Roam came out in October, so again 6 months after that. And then the last single from the album, Sad But True, released in February 1993. And I gotta tell you, Sad But True is a banger, absolutely brilliant classic rock track. It's also got, I think, the heaviest silence I've ever heard. Now that sounds weird, but there is a gap in the middle of it where the song just goes quiet, and you know when something comes in, it's going to totally knock your socks off. It's got a wonderful section there where the song kind of drops out and comes back. Sad But True, I'll pick up the singles releases when we get later on. It's an absolute classic, and again, played live almost as much as Enter Sandman. That, alongside Wherever I May Roam and Nothing Else Matters, these are phenomenal singles, and that they all kind of talk about human identity and the struggle to find identity in a world that wants to kind of bend and shape you into being somebody that you're not, and how you work with that. Holier Than Thou, of course, heard on the single, the third song from the album, played live not very often, though I did see them play it at the O2 in 2009 as one of their rotating setlist choices. Is a song about God and religion and control, and that's a theme which the band frequently come back to throughout all of their songs, is around control and identity and power. So we've got even things like Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, later on songs in the band's canon like Saint Anger, Frantic, for example. They all deal about power and control and coercion, and how you have to have your own integrity and follow your own path around what things are. Side 2 is The Unforgiven, not my favourite Metallica song. It's fair to say, a song that sounds very much like it should be from the soundtrack to Ennio Morricone's or Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns. Obviously, the theme to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the track The Ecstasy of Gold, which I watched The Good, Bad, and the Ugly a couple of years ago during lockdown, because there was a long time and there was a lot of movies and there was not very much going out. And when I heard The Ecstasy of Gold, I suddenly started to get that adrenaline rush. You know, when the band you love is just about to come on stage. And I started to get this sense of, I'm going to go and see Metallica in a bit, and then I realised, well, I'm in my office, I'm working, and I've got The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly chunking on the television whilst I'm going through some emails, and I'm not just about to see Metallica. Quite a disappointing moment in lockdown, but lockdown, of course, was made of a lot of disappointments and not very many highlights. Track 5 is Wherever I May Roam, a song. Now, there are very few things, I think, less appealing than a song where somebody moans about being on the road. The ABBA song about calling you last night from Glasgow, for example. Those other songs turn the page, and some of the other ones are just, oh man, I hate staying in hotels, I hate playing to thousands of people, I hate being rich, I kind of just be home with my wife and my kids and my dog and my hunting trophies and stuff. I don't know, but Wherever I May Roam, I mean, to an extent you can see that song as being around a commitment, which is, you make a commitment to your responsibilities. Now, as an adult, I hate to break it to you, but I am now, at least in the body of an adult, if I'm not actually an adult. There are two things which you have to do. One is you do the stuff that you have to do in order to not do the stuff you don't want to do. And the stuff you have to do is often the stuff you don't want to do. And you do the bare minimum of the stuff you don't want to do in order to make sure you can do more of the stuff you want to do. Okay, if we got that, there is a test. But that is really what Wherever I May Roam is about. It's going, I've chosen this life, and I mean, certainly, if you're in a band, there's a sense that when you go to see a band, everybody in that room, almost everybody in that room, 99% of the people in that room want to be in that band. They were. If someone said to you, you have the opportunity to play guitar in Metallica and to be as good on guitar as Kirk is and to live that experience, 99% of people would probably go, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds so much better than having to get the 7:47 train every morning and having to sit at the desk or to deal with the scum public, or whatever it is, the thing that you do. And in some respects, when people go to work, they go to work to get paid. We don't go. I mean, if you enjoy your job, that's great, and it's rare, and not everybody gets to do that. It's a rare experience to be able to experience work and to enjoy it, or to bend the work that you do into something that you can enjoy. But for example, if you choose to be a touring musician, that's not a life for everybody. It's really tough. I've done a lot of traveling for work. 2006, for example, I spent 100 nights in hotels. 2016, I think I spent 118 nights in work hotels. And, the money was okay. But if you don't love it, it must be really, really difficult to be separated from your friends and your family and everyone that you love, and to miss funerals because you have to play Montreal or Toronto or Minnesota or Michigan or Manchester. And obviously people live there, and that's important, because if people don't live there, what's the point of you playing there? But at the same point, you kind of go, I've got to really love this in order to do it to the extent that it needs to be done to be a success. And having done a lot of touring in terms of traveling for work, it's not for everybody, and I can see why bands do it less as they get older. But Wherever I May Roam is a song about, I've made a commitment to this. This is my thing, and I'm lucky to do it. It's hard, but I'm lucky, and it's not as hard as having to go and do 5 days a week for not a huge amount of money, and then ending up having a passive aggressive note from your boss saying that you can only book full days off, not half days, or you can only book full. Well, one place I worked, you could only book full weeks off. You couldn't book individual days, and I was like, pretty much as soon as they said that, I'm like, this is not the job for me, because if I want to have a day off to go and see a band in another town, I have to book a whole week off, and I'm like, that's too much of an imposition upon me and my life. And then you end up, there's an Instagram account now called "Fuck You, I Quit," which is full of people just moaning about their terrible, terrible bosses, and I fully agree with that. The sentiments within that account. It's a fascinating read to see how some companies treat their employees. But Wherever I May Roam is a song about that. It's a commitment. The road becomes my bride. And then, of course, we've got "Don't Tread on Me." "Don't Tread on Me," by the way, in case you hadn't noticed, takes its title from there's a flag which has a coiled snake on it, which is very popular with people in America. I know very little about the lineage of that flag, but the snake effectively on there is saying "Don't tread on me," is defending our own position, our identity, and so on and so forth. Side 3 on the album, disc 2. "Through the Never," a song they played very, very often live, gave its name to the 2012 3D concert film, and then "Nothing Else Matters." Now, on my sequence of the album, I have kept the running order for the album almost identical to the one that's come, but I have pushed "Nothing Else Matters" to be the last track on the album, and it's the only place where the album makes sense, in so much as ending on a track called "The Struggle Within" isn't perhaps so good. Ending on "Nothing Else Matters," it feels like it's the album is kind of hovering away into nothingness and fading away into the fog. Of course, although I did say earlier about how there was an increase in the lyrical quality of the album, side 3, song 3, track 9 of "Wolf and Man," about werewolves, as Jason frequently had it. Not a favourite song of mine. It's a song about turning into a werewolf. It's like somebody watched an American Werewolf in London, thought, I've got nothing else to sing about, I'm going to do that. Side 4 is "The God That Failed," which is, I think it was covered by Idols on the Blacklist covers album. Another song about religion and power and control, and then "My Friend of Misery," and finally "The Struggle Within." These are all heavy, dark songs. The fact that this album sold so many copies and is the 25th best-selling album in America ever, sold I think 16, 17 million copies, is pretty amazing. I mean, even so much as even the the super mega 14 CD, 6 DVD, 6 LP box set here. This one's empty because I'm going to show you the contents. Has limited to 52,000 copies, which is pretty exciting when you think about it. And there is the snake that's on the cover or the back, but it's embossed into the cover there. So let's just take a minute and admire that snake. This is going to hopefully be the bit which becomes the thumbnail photo on the YouTube video, is that snake there. telling you, oh, I'm a snake doing snaky things. Snaky, snaky, snake. Yeah, sorry, shameless plugging. There we go. So, the LP, that's the LP as it is. And we had 5 singles that came out from the album and a whole bunch of other releases. First and foremost, the band went on the road. The road became their bride, and they followed up the Metallica album. Here is the original 1991 CD of it, with the snake imprint on the booklet, with the second single, The Unforgiven, released on the 28th of October 1991. Here is a CD single of The Unforgiven, which is backed with a cover of, I think, Sweet Savage's Killing Time and the demo of The Unforgiven, and also a 7-inch single here of The Unforgiven, backed with Killing Time. Again, I think this one has a lovely swirl label, 7-inch on there, again picked up from Hog Days when it fell out of the charts, I think, or maybe even Rockabilly, because I'd moved to Leicester by then. And the third single from the album was Nothing Else Matters, I think, which was released on the 20th of April 1992, and came in a number of formats whilst the band were touring. So the first thing which happened is that there was a standard CD single there of Nothing Else Matters, backed with live versions of Enter Sandman in Moscow, Harvester of Sorrow recorded in Austria. The version of Harvester of Sorrow, the band skipped a section completely by mistake, which they didn't realise until they listened to the tape after. And a demo of Nothing Else Matters is on there as well. Again, recorded August 13th, 1990, which is just Lars and James in a basement making a bunch of noise. Now, there was also a second CD single, a first for the band, which was this EP here, live at London's Wembley Stadium on April the 20th, 1992, for the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, where Metallica, Def Leppard, Extreme, a whole bunch of other bands played 3-song sets, and then Queen, obviously minus the dearly departed Freddie, played a set with guest vocalists, including Hetfield singing guest vocals on Stone Cold Crazy. This was produced and mixed by Fleming Rowson, who produced some of the earlier albums. Just as soon as the band came off the stage, and sent to the CD production and released as a very basic thing. A week later, so a week after the show, you have the CD single of the 3-song set in the shops. And that was a second CD single there, so that's a pretty exciting release, featuring Enter Sandman, Sad But True, and Nothing Else Matters, the 3 songs the band performed on the day. If you want official Pro Shot multi-camera footage from that show, the only place to get it is the multi-disc version of the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. Here, 3 discs on DVD, and whilst the show does appear on the box set, that is the band's own recording with 1 camera and audience recorded material as opposed to anything else. So if you need to get the Freddie Mercury tribute show on DVD, this is the one to get. The 4th single from the album then is Wherever I May Roam, released on the 19th of October 1992. 2 CD singles and a 7-inch single here, with silver injected labels. Effectively, the band released almost all of the Moscow show on August 28th, 1991, where the band played to about 500,000 people for free at an airfield outside Moscow. Released almost all of it as the B-sides, effectively creating a Metallica live album. So this is the UK picture disc CD, as you can see. That would slot into the box. That has Fade to Black on it, and it also has the demo of Wherever I May Roam, recorded on August the 13th, 1990, and it also has a kind of like a special superduper limited edition CD advertising the upcoming tour of Europe 1992 in a gatefold pack here, and that is backed with 3 live tracks: Last Caress, Am I Evil, and Battery, recorded in Moscow. So again, you put all of those B-sides together and you get a live album. And then the 5th single to be released from the album was the Sad But True single. Here in 2 formats. Here is the UK, this is the international CD with the Vertigo Swirl label on, backed with live versions of Creeping Death, the demo of Sad But True, and an elevator version of Nothing Else Matters, which is an alternate studio recording. It has the same vocals, but it has different tracked guitar, and it has the orchestra mixed differently. So if you want to go full sellout, use the elevator version of Nothing Else Matters. And then there was a second CD single. Again, this features the picture disc on the cover there, which is backed with live versions of Nothing Else Matters, recorded in Mexico, and the demo of the live version of Sad But True, recorded at the Day on the Green in 1991. So the band hadn't run out of B-sides. They kept touring. There were some extra releases which came out, so they released a VHS called A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica Part 1, and Part 1 and Part 2 are available on this US DVD, which is region locked. If you want to watch a physical copy of A Year and a Half Part 1 and Part 2 in the UK, you either have to play it through a region-free DVD drive in your PC, or have a region hack DVD player, or just watch the shitty upload to YouTube. So thanks Metallica, I bought this in Vegas in 2003 when I had a region-free DVD player. The second part 2, follows the band on the road, including Lars' terrible white leather jacket, lots of live footage, including the accident that took place, I think, in Montreal in August, when James stood in the wrong place. The flash pots went off and burnt up most of the skin on his arm off, which meant that the band had to cancel some shows, bring in an extra guitarist, John Marshall from Metal Church, and tour with John on guitar for a few weeks. This is a really interesting documentary. The first hour and a half is the recording of the album, has videos, I think, for Sandman and The Unforgiven. And then the second part has the videos for Nothing Else Matters, Wherever I May Roam, Sad But True, lots and lots of live footage, well worth watching. And for some reason, this isn't on the Super Mega box set that came out. It does feature, it does feature exclusive live performances, by the way, For Whom the Bell Tolls from Donington, Sandman from the MTV Awards, Harvester of Sorrow from Moscow, Sad But True from Oakland, Sandman again from Wembley, and Nothing Else Matters from Oakland. So there you go. The band were touring, and they played lots and lots of shows, including a show, the last UK show at the Milton Keynes Bowl. This is a bootleg CD of the Milton Keynes Bowl show, which doesn't feature Enter Sandman, but for a long time it was the only place I could get affordably a good sounding mix and desk recording of the Black Album tour. And then they also released their first official live album, Live Shit, Binge and Purge, which came in various configurations, including 3 CDs or 3 tapes, 3 VHS tapes, and later 2 DVDs. So this features the whole on video of the San Diego show from 1992, Seattle from 1989, which is available in audio form on the Justice box set, and an audio recording of 5 nights at Mexico, featuring all the songs that the band played through their rotating set lists. Here is the 3 CD version. Some retailers broke it up and sold the parts separately because the Live Shit box set was prohibitively expensive. It was about £75 when it came out, and lots of people didn't buy it. So I bought a CD copy of it for £20. When somebody else was selling all the various constituent parts of the box set later on. Live Shit also has a single, a reissue of One, a live version, which was recorded at the San Diego Sports Arena, a version of Whiplash from San Diego, For Whom the Bell Tolls from Seattle, and Last Caress from the Seattle Coliseum, which first appeared on, I think, the Good, the Bad and the Live 12-inch EP a little while ago. And the band wrapped up their touring in 1994 with their show, what they call the Shit Hit the Sheds tour, their biggest show at Woodstock. So there's a bootleg double vinyl of Woodstock there, and the Woodstock CD. We're missing a couple of things, so we'll very quickly get to those. For a long time, the only circulating video from the tour, apart from San Diego, on this was this show, the Den Bosch, in the Netherlands, I believe, on December the 7th, 1992, taken from the video screen feed cameras there. This is a 23 song, 3-hour show, quite exhaustive to watch, but it was the only one which was circulating apart from San Diego for a very, very long period of time. This is an unofficial DVD release. That said, all of that changed with the release of the 30th anniversary None More Black Metallica Black Album box set, which has a staggering amount of content. So I'll quickly race through that box set for you. Obviously, the remastered 2021 version of the album. A book. I've done a previous video where I've gone through this in more detail. A book with lots and lots of photographs in it. Some reprints of various magazine covers and lyric booklets and whatnot. Here, by the way, is a flyer for the Milton Keynes show. And at the bottom, I think one of the flyers for the Milton Keynes show told you that we're going to have a slightly different B-side, but they chose not to. The box set also features a vinyl edition of the Wembley Stadium CD single, a reproduction picture disc of the Sad But True 12-inch there, and also for the first time a full release of the Moscow show. And Moscow, by the way, is simply just this is one of the best live LPs of all time. This one absolutely honks. It's angrier than a goose in Untitled Goose Game. It is proper furious. It's a brilliant live album. I love this to bits, and it's immaculately presented. Of course, it's available down. This is an incredible live album. The band were totally, absolutely peak of their game at this point. Around about that time, they also released a Record Store Day 12-inch, which is a Sebastian remix of and mashup of Don't Tread on Me and Nothing Else Matters, which you can pick up. So, box set time. What have we got? We've got the album, we all know that, and we've talked about that. We have got interviews, 2 discs of interviews. You'll listen to those once and you'll lose interest. We've got riffs and demos, 2 CDs of riffs and demos. The first one is, as you can tell by the track list, exhaustive. It's something like 32 2-minute tracks of demos, and then CD 2 is the whole album plus a bunch of rough mixes and alternate demos there. Another CD is post-production rehearsals and radio edits, so that is rehearsals of the band performing almost every song from the album live, plus a bunch of radio edits as they were prepping for the tour. Some shit from Down the Green, so this is the Oakland show from 1991. Bits of it will appear on the day in the a year and a half in the life of, and also some of the B-sides. This is the earliest audio CD, I think, from the tour. We have Live at the Arco Arena, Sacramento, plus covers and B-sides. So that's a live album recorded in January 1992. We have live at the Mannheim, Germany, May 22nd, 1993. So towards the end of the tour. We also have a whole bunch of DVDs, a year and a half of the life of. This is outtakes and extra stuff there. We have live at Workter, the last date of the tour on DVD, plus videos and making of the videos. We've got rough and alternate mixes of the album tracks there. We've got, let's think, what's this one? Copenhagen, Denmark, August 10th, 1991. I think that's the DVD of the first film show from the tour, the first of the Monsters of Rock show, plus a bunch of extra bonus tracks, including the songs that were on the Metallica VHS recorded at the Birmingham NEC, the show my brother went to, a DVD of the Franken Hall in Nuremberg. The reason this show is on there is because the set list, they're playing multiple nights at this point, and they change the set list around substantially when they're on nights 3 or 4 in the same town. And then here is Wherever We May Roam, a compilation of songs to reflect a standard set list with some extra rare songs that runs from the first show of the tour, which is Nijmegen, Netherlands, all the way through to the last show, and the last song of the last show, which is So What, at the Workter Festival in Belgium. The band also did a thing called the Black Box. So when they were digitizing their archive, they kept on VHS tapes copies of the film screen feed for every show that they filmed and had broadcast on the screens around them. And they put a number of those shows up for limited periods of time so you can rewatch them. But they're all on YouTube if you know where to look. Those shows are Graz in Austria on the 11th of September, Muskegon on I think the 1st of November, which is part of the Metallica Monday series, Cleveland from the 1st of December, LA from the 13th of February, Washington from the 17th of July, Pasadena Rose Bowl, immortalised by Depeche's 101 from 3rd of October 1992 with John Marshall on guitar, Stuttgart from the 1st of December, Tel Aviv from the 30th of June 1993, Montreal from the 13th of February 1993, Jakarta from April the 11th 1993. That's a terrible show because it has some stuttery video effects. The video editor clearly just liked a certain effects button and nobody else did. And San Paulo on the 2nd of May 1993. The Black Album tour is exhaustively well documented with official releases, either a streaming video or live albums. There's something like 30 shows from the tour which have been released in some various forms. So no shortage of live Metallica. And even though I've barely mentioned the fact that I thought the Metallica album was a disappointment and I didn't see them on stage, they brought the goods and they totally delivered. Fantastic live draw, even if I thought that the Metallica album itself was a very conventional classic rock album. As I've said before, in my opinion, the Metallica album is a bad Metallica album, but it's a fantastic classic rock LP, and it deserves every one of the copies that have been sold. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you for listening to me talk about the Metallica Black Album for 45 minutes. The next Metallica album I'm going to talk about is Load, which is perhaps a little bit more controversial, I think it's fair to say. But in the meantime, it wasn't going to be a glove, I tell you. The Metallica Black Album, I am a huge fan of this band. Although I'm not a huge fan of this album, this period, it was a great time to be a fan of the band. The band played live everywhere, and there was just so much around that if you're a fan of the band, even if you didn't like the LP, all the live stuff was absolutely brilliant. And I've been revisiting it, and live Metallica is just amazingly good. It's so much better than some of the records. It's probably the polite way of saying it. So, as Crusher from the BBC Rock Show would say, rock on, Droogies, and I will see you again soon. Bye.